Once upon a time in Mouseland, there lived hundreds of mice in harmony, peace, and love. Their whole life was governed by a mission, a purpose that was way beyond their own lives. They had such perfect daily routines, they did all of the self improvement habits, and they were moving towards that goal that they had set for themselves. Life was beautiful in the Mouseland, and everyone's life was filled with love, and they were happy. Suddenly, one day, the secret sauce that formed an important part of the diet of all the mice in the Mouseland, that sauce vanished. The whole place changed. The mice were no longer happy. They were no longer motivated to own their lives. They thought that they weren't responsible for their life. Their lives started going downhill. They no more had the zest to move towards their purpose. They no longer did everything that they were supposed to do, and they started doing all of the things that they are not supposed to do. Okay? They started eating like crazy, and some started not eating. Okay? They started sleeping at wrong times, and they started sleeping until late in the morning, and sometimes even in the afternoon. Mouseland was never the same. What was the secret sauce that made it possible for them to prosper? And in the absence of the sauce, Mouseland deteriorated to its worst. In today's video, with this dramatic introduction, we are talking about how to make our habits more attractive. With time, doing the same thing again and again and again is the rule of success. Okay? But then at some point it does get boring. All of these habits, we might not enjoy it as much as we used to in the first place. Right? I always used to execute my habits with the thought that I have to do this. I know that I don't always feel like doing it, but I have to do this because I know why am I doing this. Okay, but recently I realized that it does not always need to be this way. It does not always need to be me telling myself that I need to do this because I have to do this. There is a way to make our habits more attractive, and there is a way to make our habits as attractive as those things that we want to do. You know where the answer to making our habits more attractive lies? It lies in the secret sauce from the Mouseland. No, I'm not joking. It is true. The secret sauce from the Mouseland is a metaphor, a simile, okay, for the hormone called dopamine. Now, what is dopamine? We have heard a lot about it. Dopamine is not a sauce, first of all. Okay, dopamine is a chemical in our body that gets released when we are doing something that we enjoy. It is as simple as that. It is a chemical, a hormone that is released in our body when we are doing something that we enjoy. Now, this chemical makes us feel pleasure. So, whenever we are doing something that's pleasurable, the dopamine hormone is released in our body, and then we feel happy about doing that thing or about remembering that thing. Okay? So, the secret sauce in the Mouseland was actually dopamine. When, in an experiment, dopamine was blocked in the body of the mice now, so they cannot feel pleasure anymore. They started dying out because of thirst. You know why? Because they didn't want to move around. They didn't have the desire to do anything, not even to live, not even to have sex, not even to eat. That is the power that this chemical, the hormone dopamine, plays in our body. Dopamine driven feedback loop. All of our habits are dopamine driven feedback loops. Now, what does this mean? Whenever we do something, and if that action is pleasurable, that action is something that we enjoy, dopamine is released in our body, which makes us feel good. Okay, we are happy about it. That's when our brain tells our whole system that this is a habit worth repeating. Dopamine is released in our body irrespective of the action that is pleasurable to us, being good or bad for us. Okay, that's the reason why some of the most addictive things are bad for us, like sugar, junk food, video games, porn, okay, social media. Excessive of social media is bad for us, and even a little bit of all of these is actually bad for us. It decreases our baseline happiness. Now go back to Hamza's video to watch his explanation of baseline happiness and all of that shit. Both habits like meditation, reading, exercise, and also porn, video games, and junk food give us dopamine. So we are both attracted to these two things. But then the dopamine that is released during these bad habits like porn, like junk food, like video games, that is so much more in quantity compared to the dopamine released during meditation, during exercise, that we blindly are attracted to the bad habits. There is something called supernormal stimuli, okay, or supernormal stimuli. When there is a trigger, okay, when there is an action that is giving us super high levels of dopamine, that we are by default like crazy attracted to those actions, that is a supernormal stimuli, because that is not naturally available. The people working behind these businesses, like social media, like junk food, like pornography, all of them know how the human body and the human mind functions. Alright? They know that the moment we get super high dopamine, we have to be addicted to these things. That's the reason why they create the perfect blend of stuff. We will never find natural sex being so much stimulating as it is projected to be in pornography. Okay? We will not find natural food, homemade food, being as hyper stimulating as junk food. And we will never find real life to be like video games. Alright? So all of these products made by money-minded businesses are there to make us addicted to them, so that money for them keeps rolling in, because they understand how our psyche works. So that is how they get us hooked to those habits. Okay? But similarly, habits like meditation, exercise, reading, journaling, all of these also give us dopamine, but they are more normal level of dopamine. So that is the reason why it is so much hard to stick to a good habit than to be addicted to a bad habit. We are so naturally pulled towards watching that extra porn video, towards eating that extra packet of chips, because that gives us excessive amount of dopamine. That sauce which we talked about in the mouse land, this is the supernatural, the excessively stimulating source of that sauce. Whenever we get dopamine, okay, whenever we get pleasure from an action, we repeat that action enough number of times that it turns into a habit. Okay, it is harder to do this with good habits because they give us more normal level of dopamine, while it is so much more easier to do this with the bad habits because they give us super normal, supernatural, super highly stimulating amount of dopamine. Let's move on to the next section, which is temptation bundling. Now, in the first place, we were attracted to a habit because it made us feel nice. It gave us pleasure. Now, there are some actions that give us pleasure naturally, like scrolling through social media. Okay? And there are some actions that don't naturally give us pleasure, like sitting down for meditation. Now, this is highly debatable because meditation for people is actually really soothing. When they start relaxing into meditation, they feel really nice. I have experienced that too. But in the beginning, when you are forming that habit, it is not so easy to sit down there and calm your mind down. Alright? So, temptation bundling is based on a principle. Okay? The principle that goes something like this. The more likely behavior is sure to help execute the less likely behavior, which means a habit or an action that I want to do. I want to scroll through social media. This will make sure the less likely habit, the habit of meditation, is executed. So in temptation bundling, what we do is we bundle a habit that we want to do with a habit that we need to do. So if I want to meditate, I will tell myself, with actions like social media and video games, our hands just move towards that thing. So I don't even need to think, and I'm just grabbing my phone and I'm scrolling through YouTube shorts, isn't it? For hours. I mean, we never made that habit. Did we ever consciously sit down and tell ourselves, yeah, I need to sit down every day, scroll through social media, scroll through YouTube shorts for 2 hours? We never said that. But we need to do this with the good habits. Like, I need to meditate for 5 minutes at this time in this place. Alright? So temptation bundling works something like this. As I grab my phone to use the social media, before I start scrolling, I will take 7 deep breaths and relax. Okay, so that is my beginning of the meditation practice. Okay, just take 7 deep breaths, relax, and then start using my social media. So this is temptation bundling. With time, what will happen is we will associate the feel-good pleasure hormones that the scrolling gives us with the action of finishing up our meditation. And with time, of course, meditation itself will start making us feel nice, so we will stick to that habit. But initially, when it is hard to suffice our pleasure system with just the dopamine given to us by the meditation, when we don't have the habit of sitting down, the pleasure that we derive from the scrolling will be our craving to make us sit down and meditate. So before I start scrolling, I will take 7 deep breaths. I will take 7 deep breaths and just relax into the moment so that I start forming the habit of meditating. Similarly, if you want to read and at the same time, what else do we like? We like watching the next episode of the series. Okay, so what we will tell ourselves is, after reading for 15 minutes, I get to watch the next episode of the series. Okay, I get to watch the Netflix for the day after I have read for 15 minutes. Now slowly we will form the habit of reading, and the feel good, the achievement that we have done by the reading, that will give us dopamine also. Okay, so after we finish reading, then we get to use our Netflix, which will make us feel good. So now what is our brain associating the feel good with? Finishing up that 15 minutes of reading. So that is how temptation bundling is used to execute the less likely behavior with the help of more likely behavior. So this is temptation bundling. The other aspect of making our habits more attractive is the factor of environment. Now, in our previous videos, we have dealt with environment design being an important factor of the first principle of installing habits, which is make it obvious. Okay, whenever your environment is designed in such a way that the most obvious behavior is the behavior that you need. For example, your environment is full of water bottles. What is the most obvious action that you will take? You will grab the bottle and you'll drink some water. Okay, and this is the behavior that you need to do. Grab a bottle and drink some water. Change the frame. Can I change it again? So when there is water around you, you will drink more water, right? So we spoke about environment design in our previous videos. Environment in the second law of behavior change, which is make the habit attractive so that you crave it. In this case, designing your environment means choosing the right group, choosing the right tribe for you to be able to stick to that habit for the long run. In this case, let's take an example. If you want to be a dancer and you join a martial art studio, okay? You join a martial art class. Now, every time you want to dance and you want to move your head around, move your legs around and do a dance move, the instructor will want you to kick, The instructor will want you to punch and kick and defend yourself, right? So the tribe that you are in does not support the habit that you want to build. This is exactly the environment that we're talking about here. The habits that you want to build should be the habits accepted and also rewarded by the tribe that you live in, the community that you live in. Now, if I want to dance and if I join a dance class, a dance studio, a dance community, then every time I dance, I will be rewarded for it. Every time I dance, I will be praised for it. So the more praises I get, the more I will feel at home, because that is what I want to do. Hence, environment and the tribe that you live in and the society that you connect with, they too help you build the right kind of habit. Now you don't need to try so hard to dance because everyone around you is dancing. So you will more naturally be attracted to dance every now and then you will automatically see how you went from being just good to being great. Great. Okay. Now the next thing about making your habits attractive is the perspective, the attitude that you have towards a habit. With a simple change of one word, we can look at our habits from a different by changing just a single word from our sentence, we can change the perspective that we have towards our habit. For example, instead of saying that I have to do this or I have to do that, we can say that I get to do this or I get to do that. So let's take a more concrete example. I have to exercise. I have to go for that run. Instead of this, what we can say is, I get to exercise and make myself strong. I get to run every day and increase my endurance. Similarly, I could say that I have to meditate for 5 minutes every day. Okay? I have to focus on my breath. Or I could say that I get to meditate for 5 minutes every day to improve my focus. Okay? I get to focus on my breath and improve my concentration so that every aspect of my life can benefit from that increased amount of concentration. You're talking to your spouse, you're talking to your girlfriend, you need concentration and focus. Okay? You're focusing on your new work. You're focusing on increasing the amount of productivity you have. Not getting distracted. Concentration is required there too. So just changing the perspective that you have towards your habits will make sure that you stick to those habits for a long term, because now it is not just a duty that you are executing, rather it is an opportunity for you to improve yourself. And who doesn't want to improve himself or herself? So with these practical, implementable, actionable steps, I hope you will be able to reach the next level of your life. Habits installation is the key to improving our life. Okay? And this whole process does not need to be so painful. Okay? Does not need to be so confusing. Start with making your habit more obvious, where your environment is designed in such a way that the most natural habit that can be executed, the most natural behavior that you can execute is the habit, is the behavior that you need to execute. In the second step, you will have to be clever, okay? You will have to be smart, and you will have to make your habits more attractive so that you crave the habit, so that you don't have to force yourself to do the habit. Alright? Every time you want to do something that you want to do, like playing video games, okay, like social media, okay, like eating that dessert, that favorite dessert of yours. Before that, just tell yourself 5 minutes of meditation, 10 burpees, okay, focus on your breath for 1 minute, focus on 7 breaths of yours. So this is how you will start getting into the more balanced kind of life. Make sure you use temptation bundling to make your habits attractive. Make sure you have the right kind of tribe around you to support your needed behavior. Okay, make sure you are in the right community. Make sure you are in the right society. Now, it is not always possible to find that, and it's not even impossible to execute these habits in the absence of this tribe or this group, but it does mean that it will be a lot harder to stick to those habits if you don't have the right kind of group around you, because whatever you input are the same things are the output, isn't it? If you are inputting karate, you will not be able to dance more. There'll be a clash between what you want, what you are getting, and what you actually need. Alright? So, the next step, make sure you are changing the perspective towards your habits. Now, sometimes recording these videos are something that I detest because I don't know, because I don't feel like it. Alright? But then if I tell myself that I am not recording a video, I don't have to make a video, rather, I get to make videos to impact the lives of other people. Isn't that so much beautiful, so much more meaningful, so much more purposeful? So I hope you will use all of these actionable steps to improve your own life, alright? And do stick around if you want to watch more such videos. I will be here every week on Thursday with similar life-changing videos. Stick around if you want to consume more of them, and always be satisfied with who you are today, but not with who you can be tomorrow. This is Nikhil Om Shankar, and you're watching NKS Look.